Hello, everybody. Welcome back to BBB Sharing. This is Joshua, and today I have Spencer Lambert from Bathtune-up. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Joshua.
Good, good. So, I don't know a lot about what you do. I want you to just kind of tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So Bathtune-up is a national franchise that focuses on bathroom remodeling. And so we do everything from, replacing people's vanities, installing storage solutions in those vanities, up to, if someone wants to convert a current bathtub into a shower. We definitely do a lot of those big garden tubs people have that were built in like the early 2000s. Yeah, we take a lot of those out and replace them with, either freestanding tubs or, more of like a open shower. Certainly we remodel, existing spaces, someone who's got a shower that, maybe they still have that white one-piece surround from when the house was built. They want something more like tile. And then up to full remodels, redoing the entire bathroom, flooring, accessories, all that stuff.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, and we also have a little bit of a focus on helping people with accessibility and helping embrace the, aging in place trend, allowing, folks, to stay in their homes longer. And so we can help achieve that with, installing grab bars, shower seats.
Oh, okay.
Some people are also going as far as doing curbless showers with more openings, to help get in if you were like in a wheelchair or had
Curbless showers?
Yeah. So instead of having like a lip where you'd have to step over, it's completely flush. Okay. And generally that's a tile floor, and you do a little bit of waterproofing further out to make sure, water doesn't cause any issues.
Yeah. Okay. Do people prefer baths or showers?
So it's definitely up to personal preference. We definitely see a lot of people saying, I just want to shower. In the accessibility side of things, showers are better because you're not having to climb into something. But it is recommended to have at least one tub in the shower, one tub in the house in general, especially if you're planning to resell your house, because if you want to sell to someone who has kids, a tub's usually necessary. But I am seeing a lot more people opt to not have a tub in the owner's bathroom.
That's very interesting.
And maybe in a guest bathroom. But, some people are still keeping a tub, but they're doing like a freestanding tub, which has more options for how you can present it in the bathroom.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
I remember we used to live in Alexandria, kind of a stretch, but it was near like the Mount Vernon area. So there was like a lot of old houses.
Yes.
We had this very small tub. It was like it was thick. The curb was like very, very thick,
yes.
And it was like green. And I was like, I don't even want to use this, but
yeah, in my last house, we had one of those big tubs with like the platform around it. And in order to get in it, I'd end up leaning on the faucet, and I think that faucet got loose multiple times. And, certainly, I bought that house when I was in my late 20s, and even I didn't want to get in there. So like if you're, anybody of any age, like that's like a pain in the butt. So, we've seen more people go to the freestanding tubs, and or like I said, focusing on making bigger showers. I actually, this is before I bought this business, but before we moved out of that house, I was actually thinking of putting a shower there and then maybe repurposing the smaller shower stall for something else.
Oh, okay.
Didn't end up doing it. And ironically, I enjoyed thinking about that process. So when I found Bathtune-up as a possible franchise to buy into, I was like, hey, I enjoyed thinking about how to renovate my own bathroom. I think I can do that with other people.
Interesting. You were starting to look at like your bathroom a little differently. Like this is what can happen.
Yeah, I started
the
planning.
Opportunities.
Yeah, I like the idea of I'm naturally a problem solver, a planner, so that kind of sounded really fun. And that's kind of why I decided to do the franchise.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
When you are looking at a bathroom or someone kind of takes you in, what are kind of the first like steps in your brain that you got to walk through?
Sure. Generally, we're really big on getting the customer to really identify what they're looking to do. And so, a lot of times it's asking questions, what works for you in the bathroom now and what doesn't work? That could be someone could say, hey, there's just not enough storage. And that could mean just, simply adding more storage solutions in their existing vanity or getting them a bigger one. Certainly as with not to focus too much on the vanity piece, but, some of the ones that are less expensive, maybe someone put in just to replace an old one, or maybe it was builder grade, they tend to have more false drawers.
Okay.
So you see what looks like it could have been a drawer, but it's not an actual drawer. So sometimes just upgrading that and getting real drawers versus false fronts is better. But yeah, and we also, try to say, hey, what's your vision for the bathroom? Because, they might say, hey, I really just want to see more light. And that could be, okay, hey, instead of having a wall here, we can do a glass, enclosure, and that'll allow more natural light. And sometimes it's also, we've had people come in and just going back to the bathtub conversion. Hey, my kids are all grown up. I don't really need this bathroom here anymore. I can now have the shower of my dreams. Mm-hmm. And so we also, try to ask folks when we come in, what's got you looking to make a change now?
Interesting.
And that helps us know. And, sometimes you get simple as, oh, I finally have the money or finally have the time to focus on it. Other times it's, hey, the family's changed. Kids are out of the house. Sometimes it is a little bit deeper than that. Like, hey, my spouse has passed away, and and he or she would have wanted me to have this nice thing. I haven't personally had one of those, but I know other franchisees have come up with that, and that's been a moment to connect with customers. And sometimes when you think about a sales process, you can think of it as just products and services, but we really try to focus on we're there to be a partner and helping you get your projects done and make your house fit what you need.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all are here to make sure people get what they want. Yes. So there are, there's circumstances at the end of the day where you kind of got to turn that off and be like, hey, we're both human. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
Okay.
So we try to walk through that.
As a consumer, like a customer who wants, a new bath or just something done, what are some things that I got to think about or maybe have plan ahead for you to make this process a little easier?
Yeah, certainly, having a good idea of what you want to invest in the project. And that can be hard because not a lot of people, and I'll even say before I started in the business, didn't fully understand how much things cost. And so certainly, I definitely spent a lot of time up front. Like I asked that question, and it can be a difficult question because sometimes people worry like, oh, if I tell you my budget, you're just going to try to maximize what you're offering me. And, I get that concern. But if you say, hey, let's say you just know you only have about $15,000 to expend, and you're like, I want to redo the whole bathroom. Well, $15,000 is probably going to be a focus on one wet space, so like the shower or the bathtub area. And so I'd say, hey, if you were looking to stay in that investment range, we need to focus on this. Focus on one, and I'll help you identify what's the highest priority. Now, also, we do offer, we have financing through a financing partner, and if that's something you're interested in, we can help you get that. Certainly don't want to push anyone to doing if that's not what they're wanting to do, but sometimes we don't know that's an option either, and so that can change what they think they can do for the investment level.
Yeah.
The other thing is just a timeline. Is it something you really want to do now? That helps me because obviously if you're like, I don't know when I want to get it done, then it's like, hey, I don't want to give you a price now and it changed. Right now we're in an interesting economic climate where, with tariffs and possible economic stuff, prices are changing daily. But also, on this other side of timeline, if you're like, hey, I really need to have this bathroom done before my mother-in-law comes, let me know because obviously, I want to be up front like, oh, yes, I can definitely get that done before then. And if you're like, hey, they're coming in a month, like, okay, we got to make a lot of decisions now. And that, lets me know.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, beside that, nothing really else because, from like design and color palettes, we try to make that part simple. We can go full custom and have design renderings done, or we have a lot of in our collections curated palettes. So we can say, hey, do you like the blue palette? Here's a couple different, collections of things we put together that kind of help guide you. And, we can start there. And certainly we can add and subtract and change. But that sometimes people see, oh, that's what it goes together. This is what it'll look. And that's a good place to start. Because if you start from a blank canvas, sometimes you get lost.
Yeah, you want something done, but you're not 100% sure what it is.
And so we try to make that part easy. So really it's just the time and investment you're looking for. That's good for you to know and let us know so we can start, kind of help you how to approach it.
Yeah.
But like I said, the other stuff, we're here to help you with that. We're full service. I enjoy that part, helping you plan through your project, see what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
that's the part right there.
Yeah, man.
Do you see any new things going on in the industry that you guys are interesting or wanting to adopt? Either it'd be like parts or like maybe there's a change to like, I don't know. It's just like a change to the bathroom space. I have no idea.
We're definitely seeing what, and I don't know if this is a recent trend or not, but I definitely wasn't aware of it until I really got into the business, like floating vanities, like mounted to the wall. So there's a space underneath versus sitting. That's, really
weird.
Yeah. Like I said, in the aging in place side, the curbless shower is really big.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me think. Power and technology is definitely getting into the bathroom. Like we were actually sitting in on a presentation with one of our vanity vendors, and they actually are partnering with Free Power, which can make your bathroom vanity top have the ability to charge your phone. And it's definitely a higher end product.
Yeah.
It's rolling out.
I think like a built-in tablet to say like how much water you want or like what the temperature is.
Yeah, we can probably get to that. But like I said, it's simple as like, hey, this middle part of the vanity will charge your phone. So you sit it down and, you're charging your phone.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I have a bad habit of falling asleep without plugging my phone up. And so, yeah, if I had that option to charge my phone in the bathroom, because, as a business owner, I'm, sending emails while I'm, in between taking a shower and getting the kids ready.
Yeah.
So just being able to sit on the counter and let it charge without having to go plug it up next to the bed would be helpful.
That's an interesting thing to think of where you want to charge your phone.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll leave it on like my kitchen table.
Yeah.
And then I'll wake up and I'll be like, what percentage is my phone at right now? I was like, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, that's an interesting trend. And just in general power, there is some storage solutions that where you can, put your like a hair dryer in it and keep it plugged up. So you're not having to take it out, plug it up. It's already there, and it's also got a storage solution.
Nice.
So I think storage in the vanity is a big thing, just because, why have a really pretty, nice vanity top if you've got all your products on top?
Yeah.
And so that's a nice thing to add into any, option.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, man.
Did you have any last minute things you wanted to tell the audience?
Yeah, I'm just saying, hey, we're here to help. If you got any projects you're looking for, and you're really overwhelmed by all the options and you want someone to help break it down and simplify it, we're here to help. Definitely looking to, like I said, grow and expand and reach more of the community. And shout out, I'll actually be at a community event at the end of the month. I'm going to Wolfstock, which is sponsored by the Richmond Animal League. I'm proud to be a silver collar sponsor for that. Getting out in the nice weather, seeing some dogs while, expanding brand awareness of my business. So if you're out that way, come by and say hi.
I love dogs. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I might come see you. So.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Anyone who's listening, stay cozy, stay well. You can reach us on Instagram and Facebook, Ignite Sparked by BBB, Central Virginia. You can also do LinkedIn, BBB Serving Central Virginia. We got YouTube, got Spotify. Go check out these podcasts. You guys have a good rest of your day.